The text message arrived just as I was pulling into the parking lot of my office. From my sister-in-law, Elena, of course. Look at my new designer handbag. She sent a selfie, her perfectly manicured hand holding an expensive leather bag. Bought with your family money. Haha. Thanks for being so careless. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. The casual cruelty, the brazen theft, it was too much. My name is Sophie Martinez, 35 years old, a project manager at a tech startup in San Francisco. And for the past 6 months, my sister-in-law had been systematically draining a trust fund that wasn't hers to touch. The trust fund had been my grandmother's final gift. Elena's husband, my brother Marco, had no idea what was happening. And that was exactly how Elena wanted it. I remember the day my grandmother passed away. Elena had been hovering near the lawyer's office, asking endless questions about inheritance. My grandmother Maria, a first-generation immigrant who had built a successful cleaning business from nothing, had always been strategic. The trust fund wasn't just money, it was a legacy. This is for your education, for your dreams, she told me years ago. Never let anyone take away what you've worked for. Those words echoed in my mind as I stared at Elena's message. $450,000 gone. Spent on designer bags, luxury vacations, expensive jewelry. All while claiming it was her money to spend. The first hint of trouble came 6 months ago. A strange withdrawal from the trust account. Then another. Small amounts at first, carefully calculated to avoid immediate detection. But Elena wasn't careful enough. I'd inherited my grandmother's sharp mind. Working in tech had taught me about data, about tracking, about finding patterns. And I knew something was wrong. Mr. Rodriguez, my grandmother's longtime lawyer, had been the first to raise a red flag. Someone's been accessing the account, he told me during our confidential meeting. But the signatures don't quite match. Elena had forged documents, carefully, meticulously, but not perfectly. My brother Marco was oblivious. A construction worker who trusted his wife completely. He had no idea about the intricate financial details. Elena managed their finances, and she made sure he saw only what she wanted him to see. We're saving money, she'd tell him. Don't worry about the details. But I worried. I investigated. Bank statements, digital trails, every piece of financial documentation became a puzzle I was determined to solve. Elena thought she was smart. She thought no one would notice. She'd been slowly transferring funds, creating fake invoices, manipulating account statements. But what she didn't know was that my grandmother had built in multiple layers of protection. Hidden clauses, specific conditions, and most importantly, original notarized documents that could never be truly erased. I spent weeks gathering evidence, silent, calculating, waiting for the perfect moment. Each designer bag Elena posted, each luxury vacation she bragged about, they were pieces of evidence. Timestamps of her theft. Digital breadcrumbs leading directly to her crime. My tech background wasn't just a job. It was a weapon, and I was about to use it. The final piece of the puzzle came from an unexpected source. My Aunt Elena, my grandmother's sister, who lived in a small town in Arizona. I have something for you, she'd said during our monthly call. Something Grandma Maria wanted you to have. But only when the time was right. A small weathered envelope arrived a week later. Inside, original trust fund documents, signed, notarized, with specific instructions that could blow Elena's scheme wide open. My grandmother, always 3 steps ahead, had anticipated something like this might happen. The documents revealed everything, specific conditions about the trust fund, restrictions Elena had completely overlooked in her rush to steal the money. I knew what I had to do, but timing would be everything. I screenshot Elena's messages, compiled the bank statements, gathered every piece of digital evidence. Mr. Rodriguez confirmed what I already suspected. Elena's actions weren't just unethical, they were potentially criminal. We have multiple legal avenues, he told me, but we need to be strategic. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Elena. Can't wait to show Marco my new vacation photos. Bet you're jealous. I allowed myself a small smile. Elena had no idea what was coming. The generational wealth she believed was hers was about to become her worst nightmare. And I was going to make sure she understood one fundamental truth. You don't mess with a legacy built by a strong immigrant grandmother who fought for every single penny. This wasn't just about money. This was about respect, about honor, about protecting the dreams my grandmother had worked her entire life to secure. Elena thought she had won. She thought she had gotten away with her theft. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The family dinner was planned weeks in advance. Marco's birthday. Elena would be there, dripping in her stolen luxury, believing herself untouchable. I arrived early, a manila folder tucked discreetly in my leather portfolio. My parents noticed immediately. Something was different about me. Calm. Calculated. "You seem intense," my mother whispered as I helped her set the table. "Just wait," I replied with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. Elena strutted in an hour later, a new Gucci handbag swinging from her arm. Her laugh was too loud, her smile too bright. The performance of someone hiding something. "Sophia," she called out, deliberately loud. "Look at my new bag. Isn't it amazing?" Marco beamed, completely oblivious. My wife has such great taste. I watched, silent, waiting. Dinner progressed, small talk, laughter. Elena continued her performance, occasionally throwing me pointed looks. Challenging, mocking. "So, Sophia," she said during dessert, "still working that tech job? Must be hard saving money in San Francisco." The table went quiet, a classic Elena move, always trying to belittle, always trying to create tension. "Actually," I responded, my voice calm, "I've been doing quite well." I pulled out the manila folder. "In fact, I'd like to discuss something important. About Grandma Maria's trust fund." Marco looked confused. My parents exchanged worried glances. Elena's smile froze. "Mr. Rodriguez, our family lawyer, asked me to share some information." I continued, spreading documents across the tablecloth. Bank statements, forensic financial reports, copies of forged signatures, digital transaction trails. Elena's face transformed. The confident smile disappeared, replaced by a look of pure panic. "What is this?" Marco asked, picking up a document. Before I could answer, Elena interjected. "It's nothing, just some boring paperwork." But it wasn't nothing. It was everything. The documents revealed a meticulously planned theft. $450,000 systematically withdrawn. Fake invoices, forged signatures. Elena had been methodical in her approach. But she had overlooked one critical detail. My grandmother's original trust document contained a unique clause, a protection mechanism she had crafted decades ago, anticipating potential family conflicts. The trust fund, I explained, can only be accessed under specific conditions. Conditions Elena violated multiple times. Marco looked at his wife, confusion turning to suspicion. "Elena," he asked, "what is she talking about?" I watched her carefully, saw the moment she realized her elaborate lie was crumbling. "It's not what it looks like," she stammered. But it was exactly what it looked like. Mr. Rodriguez had prepared everything. Legal documentation showing each fraudulent transaction, forensic evidence tracing every stolen dollar. The luxury bags, the vacations, the jewelry, all purchased with stolen money. "The bank has been notified," I said quietly. "The FBI Financial Crimes Unit is involved." Marco's face went pale. Elena's confident facade completely shattered. "You can't do this," she whispered. But I could, and I would. My grandmother hadn't just left me money. She'd left me a blueprint for justice. Each transaction is documented. I continued. Forged signatures, unauthorized transfers. This isn't just about the money. This is about breaking trust. Marco looked devastated. His perfect world, his perfect marriage was unraveling in front of his family. Elena tried one last manipulation, tears welling up. The victim performance she had perfected over years. "It was just a mistake," she pleaded. "I was going to pay it back." But the evidence told a different story. Months of calculated theft. Deliberate deception. My Aunt Elena, who had delivered the original documents, spoke up. "Your grandmother always said," she told me, "protect the legacy, but also give people a chance to make things right." I understood what she meant. "You have two choices," I told Elena, my voice steady. "Voluntary restitution and potential reduced legal consequences, or full prosecution." The table was silent, the weight of the moment hanging heavy. Marco looked at his wife, really looked at her, seeing her, perhaps, for the first time. "Is this true?" he asked softly. Elena's carefully constructed world began to crumble. No more designer bags. No more luxury vacations. No more stolen dreams. The generational wealth she believed was hers was about to become her greatest regret. And I was just getting started. The fallout was swift and brutal. Within days, Elena's carefully constructed world collapsed. The FBI Financial Crimes Unit began their investigation. Bank accounts frozen. Credit cards canceled. Her entire financial landscape transformed into a minefield of legal consequences. Marco moved out temporarily. Not a dramatic exit, but a quiet, devastated retreat. The betrayal cut deeper than the financial theft. It was a violation of trust that ran much deeper than money. "How could you?" he asked Elena during one of their first separation meetings. "We built everything together." But they hadn't built anything together. Elena had been building the house of cards, and I had just blown it down. Mr. Rodriguez worked tirelessly. Legal documents flew back and forth. Elena's initial bravado crumbled under the weight of mounting evidence. Her lawyer advised cooperation. The alternative was far worse. 2 months after the family dinner, we sat in a mediation room. Elena looked nothing like the confident woman who had bragged about designer bags. Her designer clothes were replaced by muted, conservative attire. Her perfectly manicured nails were now bitten down, nervous. "I want to make this right," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But making things right wasn't as simple as she hoped. The trust fund wasn't just money. It was my grandmother's legacy. A lifetime of hard work, of immigrant struggles, of building something from nothing. Restitution, Mr. Rodriguez explained, isn't just about returning the money. The legal process revealed more than just financial theft. Elena had forged documents, created fake invoices, manipulated bank statements. Each action compounded her crime. Marco sat quietly during the mediation. His construction worker's hands that had built real things, honest things, now sat folded in his lap. The betrayal had broken something fundamental in him. My tech background proved crucial. Digital forensics traced every single transaction. Nothing was hidden. Nothing could be explained away. The first settlement offer came through. Full financial restitution. Plus legal penalties. Elena would be paying back far more than she had stolen. But money was only part of the punishment. Her professional reputation was destroyed. The accounting firm where she worked discovered her fraudulent activities. Termination was immediate. Professional licensing boards were notified. "You'll never work in financial services again," her lawyer warned. The family dynamics shifted dramatically. My parents, initially shocked, now viewed Elena with a mixture of disappointment and anger. "How could you betray our trust?" my mother asked during a difficult conversation. Elena had no real answer. The trust fund, miraculously, remained mostly intact. The quick detection and legal intervention meant most of the money was recovered. What wasn't recovered would come from Elena's personal assets and future earnings. A year-long forensic audit revealed the full extent of her actions. It wasn't just the trust fund. She had been manipulating finances in other areas of her life. Small thefts. Fraudulent claims. A pattern of deception that ran deep. Marco filed for divorce. Not with anger, but with a profound sense of loss. "I thought I knew her," he told me during one of our rare conversations. "I was wrong about everything." The legal proceedings became a matter of public record. In our small community, Elena became a cautionary tale. The woman who tried to steal her own family's legacy. My grandmother would have been proud. Not of the destruction, but of the justice. "Protect what's yours," she used to say, "but always give people a chance to make things right." I had done exactly that. The final settlement was more than financial. It was about restoring dignity, about showing that generational wealth isn't just about money. It's about trust, integrity, and respect. Elena was required to pay additional legal penalties, complete financial ethics courses, maintain a clean financial record for 10 years. Her professional life was essentially over. No financial institution would touch her. Her reputation was permanently damaged. Marco rebuilt, slowly, painfully, but with integrity. "I'm grateful you uncovered this," he told me during one of our last conversations. "Better to know the truth than live a lie." The trust fund, my grandmother's final gift, was restored. But it became more than just money. It became a symbol of family resilience. I established a scholarship in my grandmother's name. using part of the recovered funds to help first-generation immigrant students pursue their dreams. She would have loved this, my aunt told me, tears in her eyes. Elena's final attempt at reconciliation came through a carefully worded letter, an apology, a plea for understanding. I didn't respond. Some betrayals are too deep to simply forgive. The generational wealth she believed was hers had become her ultimate downfall. A lesson in the consequences of greed, of betrayal, of thinking you can outsmart family. My grandmother always said, the truth will always find its way home. And she was right.